The Odyssey by Homer. Chapter 2. The Assembly. When the morning came, Telemachus bade the heralds call the people to the assembly. So the heralds called them, and they came in haste. And when they were gathered together, he went his way to the place of meeting, holding his hand a spear, and 2 dogs followed him. Then did Athene shed a marvelous grace upon him, so that all men wondered at him as he sat him down in his father's place. First spake Agrippus, who was bowed with many years and was very wise. 4 sons he had. One had gone with Ulysses to Troy, and one was among the suitors of the queen. And 2 abode with their father in the field. He said, Hearken to me, men of Ithaca. Never hath an assembly been called in Ithaca since Ulysses departed, who now hath called us together. If it be Telemachus, what doeth he want? Hath he heard any tidings of the coming back of the host? He methinks is a true man. May Zeus be with him and grant him his heart's desire. So spake the old man, and Telemachus was glad at his speech. Then he rose up and said, I have great trouble in my heart, men of Ithaca, for first my father, whom ye all loved, is dead, and next the princes of the islands come hither, making suit to my mother, but she awaits ever for the return of her husband, and they devour all our substance, nor is Ulysses here to defend it, and I in truth am not able, and this is a grievous wrong, and not to be borne. Then he dashed his scepter on the ground, and sat down weeping. And Antinous, who was one of the suitors, rose up and said, Nay, Telemachus, blame not us, but blame thy mother, who indeed is crafty above all women. For now this is the 4th year that we have come suing for her hand, and as she has cheated us with hopes. Hear now this that she did. She set up a great web for weaving, and said to us, Listen, ye that are my suitors, hasten not my marriage till I finish this web to be a burial cloth for Laertes, the father of Ulysses. For indeed it would be foul shame if he who has won great possessions should lack this honor. So she spake, and for 3 years she cheated us, for what she wove in the day she unravelled at night. But when the 4th year was come, one of the maidens told us of the matter, and we came upon her by night, and found her unravelling what she had woven in the day. Then did she finish it, much against her will. Send away, therefore, thy mother, and bid her marry whom she will. But till this be done, we will not depart. Then answered Telemachus, How can I send away against her will her who bare me and brought me up? I cannot do this thing. So he spake, and there came 2 eagles, which flew abreast till they came over the assembly. Then did they wheel in the air, and shook out from each many feathers, and tear each other, and so departed. Then cried Elitherses the prophet, Beware, ye suitors, for great trouble is coming to you, and to others also. And as for Ulysses, I said when he went to Troy that he should return after 20 years, and so it shall be. And when the suitors would not listen, Telemachus said, Give me a ship and 20 rowers, that I may go to Pylos and to Sparta. Perhaps I may hear news of my father, and if I hear that he is dead, then will I come back hither and raise up a mound for him and give my mother to a husband. Having thus spoken, he sat down, and Mentor, whom Ulysses, when he departed, set over his household, rose up in the midst, and spake, saying, Now henceforth never let any king be kind and gentle in his heart, or minded to work righteousness. Let him rather be a hard man and unrighteous. For now no man of all the people whose lord he was remembereth Ulysses, yet he was gentle as a father. If the suitors are minded to do evil deeds, I hither them not. They do them at the peril of their own heads. It is with the people that I am wroth, to see how they sit speechless, and cry not shame upon the suitors. And yet they are many in number, and the suitors are few. Then Leocritus, who was one of the suitors, answered, Surely thy wits wander, O Mentor, that thou biddest the people put us down. Of a truth, if Ulysses himself should come back, and should seek to drive the suitors from the hall, it would fare ill with him. An evil fate would be meet, and an evil fate would he meet, if he fought with them. As for the people, let them go to their own houses. Let Mentor speed the young man's voyage, for he is a friend of his house. Yet I doubt whether he will ever accomplish it. So he spake, and the assembly was dismissed. But Telemachus went apart to the shore of the sea, and he washed his hands in the water of the sea, and prayed to Athena, saying, Hear me, thou who didst come yesterday to the house, and bid me take a ship and sail across the sea, seeking tidings of my father. The people delay my purpose, and the suitors stir them up in the wickedness of their hearts. And while he prayed, Athena stood by him, like to Mentor in shape and speech. She spake, saying, Thou art not without spirit, and art like to be a true son of Ulysses and Penelope. Therefore, I have good hopes that this journey of which thou speakest will not be in vain. But as for the suitors, think not of them, for they talk folly, and know not of the doom that is even now close upon them. Go therefore and talk with the suitors as before, and get ready food for a journey, wine and meal, and I will gather men who will offer themselves freely to the journey, and I will find a ship also, the best in Ithaca. Then Telemachus returned to the house, and the suitors were flaying goats and singing swine in the court. And Antinous caught him by the hand and said, "Eat and drink, Telemachus, and we will find a ship and rowers for thee, that thou mayest go where thou wilt, to inquire for thy father." But Telemachus answered, "Think ye that I will eat and drink with you, who so shamefully waste my substance? Be sure of this, that I will seek vengeance against you, and if ye deny me a ship, I will even go in another man's." So he spake and dragged his hand from the hand of Antinous. So he spake. And another of the suitors said, "Now will Telemachus go and seek help against us from Pylos, or from Sparta, or may he be he will put poison in our cups, and so destroy us." And another said, "Perchance he also will perish, as his father had perished. Then we should divide all his substance, but the house we should give to his mother and to her husband." So they spake, mocking him. But he went to the chamber of his father, in which he ranged many casks of old wine, and gold, and bronze, and clothing, and olive oil. And of things the prudent Eurycleia, who was the keeper of the house, had care. To her he spake, "Mother, make ready for me 12 jars of wine, not of the best, but of that which is next to it, and 20 measures of barley meal. At even will I take them, when my mother sleeps, for I go to Pylos and Sparta. Perchance I may hear news of my father." But the old woman said, weeping, "What meanest thou, being an only son, thus to travel abroad? Wilt thou perish as thy father has perished? For this evil brood of suitors will plot to slay thee and divide thy goods. Thou hadst better sit peaceably at home." Then Telemachus said, "'Tis at the bidding of the gods I go. Only swear that thou wilt say naught to my mother till 11 or 12 days be past, unless perchance she should ask concerning me." And the old woman sware that it should be so. Telemachus went again among the suitors. But Athena, meanwhile, taking his shape, had gathered together a crew, and also had borrowed a ship for the voyage. And lest the suitors should hinder the thing, she caused a deep sleep to fall upon them, so that they slept where they sat. Then she came in the shape of Mentor to the palace, and called Telemachus forth, saying, "The rowers are ready, let us go." Then Athena led the way, and they found the ship's crew upon the shore. To them spake Telemachus, saying, "Come now, my friends, let us carry the food on board, for it is all in the chamber, and no one knoweth of the matter, neither my mother nor any of the maidens, but one woman only." So they went to the house with him, and carried all the provision, and stowed it in the ship. Then Telemachus climbed the ship and sat down on the stern, and Athena sat by him. And when he called to the crew, they made ready to depart. They raised the pine tree mast and set it in the hole that was made for it, and they made it fast with stays. Then they hauled up the white sails with ropes of oxhide, and the wind filled out the sail, and the water seethed about the stem of the ship, and as she hasted through the water. And when all was made fast in the ship, then they mixed wine in the bowl, and poured out drink offerings to the gods, especially to Zeus. So all the night until the dawn, the ship sped through the sea. Chapter 3. Nestor. At sunrise the ship came to Pylos, where Nestor dwelt. Now it so chanced that the people were offering a great sacrifice upon the shore to Poseidon. 9 companies there were, and in each company 500 men, and for the 500 there were 9 bulls. And they had tasted of the inner parts, and were burning the slices of flesh on the thigh bones to the god, when Telemachus's company moored the ship and came forth from it to the shore. Athene spake to Telemachus, saying, Now thou hast no need to be ashamed. Thou hast sailed across the sea to hear tidings of thy father. Go therefore to Nestor, and learn what counsel he hath in the deep of his heart. But Telemachus answered, How shall I speak to him, being so untried and young? Nay, said the goddess, but thou shalt think of something thyself, and something the gods will put into thy mouth. So saying, she led the way, and they came to where Nestor sat, with his sons, and a great company round him, making ready the feast. When these saw the strangers, they clasped their hands, and made them sit down on soft fleeces of wool. And Nestor's son, Pisistratus, brought to them food, and wine in a cup of gold. To Athena first he gave the wine, for he judged her to be the elder of the two, saying, Pray now to the Lord Poseidon, and make thy drink offering, and when thou hast so done so, give the cup to thy friend, that he may do likewise. Then Athena took the cup and prayed to Poseidon, saying, Grant renown to Nestor and his son, and reward the men of Pylos for this great sacrifice. And grant that we may accomplish that for which we have come hither. And the son of Ulysses prayed in like manner. When they had eaten and drunk their fill, Nestor said, Strangers, who are ye? Sail ye over the seas for trade, or as pirates that wander at hazard of their lives? To him Telemachus made reply, Athena putting courage into his heart, We come from Ithaca, and our errand concerns ourselves. I seek for tidings of my father, who in old time fought by thy side, and sacked the city of Troy. Of all the others who did battle with the men of Troy, we have heard, whether they have returned or where they died, but even the death of this man remains untold. Therefore I am come hither to thee. Perchance thou mayest be willing to tell me of him, whether thou sawest his death with thine own eyes, or hast heard it from another. Speak me no soft words for pity's sake, but tell me plainly what thou hast seen. Nestor made answer, thou bringest to my mind all that we endured, warring round Priam's mighty town. There the best of us were slain. Valiant Ajax lies there, and there Achilles, and there Patroclus, and there my own dear son. Who could tell the tale of all that we endured? Truly no one, not though thou shouldest abide here 5 years or 6 to listen. For thine whole years we were busy, devising the ruin of the enemy, which yet Zeus brought not to pass. And always Ulysses passed the rest in craft, thy father Ulysses, if indeed thou art his son, and verily thy speech is like to his. One would not think that a younger man could be so like to an elder, but listen to my tale. When we had sacked the town, I returned across the sea without delay, leaving behind the others, so that I know not of my own knowledge which of the Greeks was saved and which was lost. But wander not thou, my son, far from home, while strangers devour thy substance. Go to Menelaus, for the hath but lately come back from a far country. Go and ask him to tell thee all that he knoweth. If thou wilt go with thy ships, or if it please thee better, I will send thee with a chariot and horses, and my sons shall be thy guides. Then said Athena, let us cut up the tongues of the beasts, and mix the wine, and pour offerings to Poseidon and the other gods, and so bethink us of sleep, for it is the time. So she spake, and they hearkened to her words. And when they had finished, Athena and Telemachus would have gone back to their ship. But Nestor stayed them, saying, now Zeus and all the gods forbid that ye should depart to your ships from my house, as though it were the dwelling of a needy man that hath not rugs and blankets in his house, whereon his guests may sleep. Not so, I have rugs and blankets enough. Never shall the son of my friend Ulysses lay him down on his ship's deck while I am alive, or my children after me, to entertain strangers in my hall. Thereupon said the false Mentor, this is good, dear father. Let Telemachus abide with thee, but I will go back to the ship and cheer the company and tell them all. There I will sleep this night, and tomorrow I go to the Cauconians, where there is owing to me a debt neither small nor of yesterday. But do thou send this man on his way in thy chariot. Then the goddess departed in the semblance of a sea-eagle, and all that saw it were amazed. Then the old man took Telemachus by the hand and said, no coward or weakling art thou like to be, whom the gods attend even now in thy youth. This is none other than Athena, daughter of Zeus, the same that stood by thy father in the land of Troy. After this the old man led the company to his house. Here he mixed for them a bowl of wine 11 years old, and they prayed to Athena, and then lay down to sleep. Telemachus slept on a bedstead beneath the gallery, and Pisistratus slept by him. The next day, as soon as it was morning, Nestor and his sons arose, and the old man said, let one man go to the plain for a heifer, and let another go to the ship of Telemachus, and bid all the company come hither, leaving 2 only behind. And a third shall command the goldsmith to gild the horns of the heifer, and let the handmaids prepare all things for a feast. They did as the old man commanded, and after they had offered sacrifice and had eaten and drunk, old Nestor said, "Put now the horses in the chariot, that Telemachus may go his way." So they yoked the horses, and the dame that kept the stores put into the chariot food and wine and dainties, such as princes eat. And Pisistratus took the reins, and Telemachus rode with him. And all that day they journeyed, and when the land grew dark they came to the city of Pherae, and there they rested, and the next day, traveling again, came to Lacedaemon, to the palace of King Menelaus. Chapter 4. In Sparta. Now it chanced that Menelaus had made a great feast that day, for his daughter, the child of the fair Helen, was married to the son of Achilles, to whom she had promised at Troy, and his son had also taken a wife. And the 2 wayfarers stayed their chariot at the door, and the steward spied them, and said to Menelaus, "Lo, here are 2 strangers, who are like the children of kings. Shall we keep them here, or send them to another?" But Menelaus was wroth, and said, "Shall we, who have eaten so often of the bread of hospitality, send these strangers to another? Nay, unyoke their horses, and bid them sit down to meat." So the squires loosened the horses from the yoke, and fastened them in the stall, and gave them grain to eat, and led the men into the hall. Much did they marvel at the sight, for there was a gleam as of the sun or moon in the palace of Menelaus. And when they had gazed their fill, they bathed them in the polished baths. After that they sat them down by the side of Menelaus. Then a handmaid bare water in a pitcher of gold, and poured it over a basin of silver, that they might wash their hands. Afterwards she drew a polished table to their side, and a dame brought food, and set it by them, laying many dainties on the board. And a carver placed by them platters of flesh, and set near them golden bowls. Then said Menelaus, "Eat and be glad. Afterwards I will ask ye who ye are, for ye seem like to the sons of kings." And when they had ended the meal, Telemachus, looking round at the hall, said to his companion, "See the gold and the amber, and the silver and the ivory. This is like the hall of Zeus." This he spake with his face close to his comrade's ear. But Menelaus heard him, and said, "With the halls of the gods nothing mortal may compare, and among men also there may be the match of these things. Yet I have wandered far, and got many possessions in many lands, but woe is me! Would that I had but the 3rd part of this wealth of mine, and that they who perished at Troy were alive again. And most of all I mourn for the great Ulysses, for whether he be alive or dead, no man knows." But Telemachus wept to hear mention of his father, holding up his purple cloak before his eyes. This Menelaus saw, and knew who he was, and pondered whether he should wait till he should himself speak of his father, or should rather ask him of his errand. But while he pondered there came in the fair Helen, and 3 maidens with her, of whom one set a couch for her to sit, and one spread a carpet for her feet, and one bare a basket of purple wool. But she herself had a distaff of gold in her hand. And when she saw the strangers, she said, Who are these, Menelaus? Never have I seen such likeness in man or woman as this one bears to Ulysses. Surely 'tis his son Telemachus, whom he left an infant at home, and when ye went to Troy for my sake. Then said Menelaus, It must indeed be so, lady, for these are the hands and feet of Ulysses, and the look of his eyes and his hair. And but now, when I made mention of his name, he wept, holding his mantle before his face. Then said Pisistratus, King Menelaus, thou speakest truth. This is indeed the son of Ulysses, who is come to thee. Perchance thou canst help him by word or deed. And Menelaus answered, Then is he the son of a man whom I loved right well? I thought to give him a city in this land, bringing him from Ithaca with all his goods. Then should not have divided us but death itself. But these things the gods have ordered otherwise. At these words they all wept, the fair Helen and Telemachus and Menelaus, nor could Pisistratus refrain himself, for he thought of his dear brother who was slain at Troy. Then said Menelaus, Now we will cease from weeping, and tomorrow there is much that Telemachus and I must say one to the other. Then the fair Helen put a mighty medicine in the wine whereof they drank. Nepenthe, men call it. So mighty is it that whoever drinks of it weeps not that day, though father and mother die, and though men slay brother or son before his eyes. And after this she said, It would take long to tell all the wise and valiant deeds of Ulysses. One thing, however, ye shall hear, and it is this. While the Greeks were before Troy, he came into the city, having disguised himself as a beggar man, yea, and he had laid many blows upon himself, so that he seemed to have been shamefully treated. I alone knew who he was, and questioned him, but he answered craftily, and I swore that I would not betray him. So he slew many Trojans with the sword, and learnt many things. And while other women in Troy lamented, I was glad, for my heart was turned again to my home. Then Menelaus said, Thou speakest truly, lady. Many men have I seen, and travelled over many lands, but never have I seen one who might be matched with Ulysses. Well do I remember how, when I and other chiefs of the Greeks sat in the horse of wood, thou didst come. Some god who loved the sons of Troy put the thing into thy heart. Thrice didst thou walk round our hiding place, and call by name to each one of the chiefs, speaking marvelously like his wife. Then would we have risen from our place or answered thee straightway. But Ulysses hindered us, and thus saved all the Greeks. But Telemachus said, Yet all these things have not kept him, for he has perished. And after that they slept.